A Lucid View of Joel's History, Volume 5, or A Little Bloodletting.
So I'm sitting there in the conference room, and I'm writing my report, and security busts through the front door. Like, they have guns, and they walk in and they say, all right, tell me who... Let me start over at the beginning. This is a lucid view of history. We're going to take a lucid view of my history. If social media is a desperate race to inflate your ego and pop others' bubbles, well, you're safe from both here. My ego is self-inflating and could use a little bloodletting. Here we go. 15 years ago or so, I was pretty sure I was some kind of special. I thought there were no technical problems that I could not solve. I had mastered Novell, NT, Checkpoint, Cisco, Unix. I had the certifications to prove it and the happy customers to back that up. Site-to-site VPNs with IPF and Squid proxy all running on OpenBSD. I still have the t-shirt and the album that came with it. I mean, sure, I had to reinstall Linux every weekend on my laptop, but that's because I wanted to. And because I switched from Red Hat to Debian after learning it was harder. I mean, more technical. Have you got a good picture? I took a career-making role at a major corporation. How major? The IT department was approximately 16,000 people. My first assignment placed me with a multidisciplinary team assessing the corporation's largest business unit. You arrive on site, you find your assigned beige conference room, you meet the team, supply chain management, procurement, finance, design engineering. These are all experts in their field. Whoa, this is a bigger deal than I thought. I need to deliver my A game. I start where you would start. I start where every CISO starts on the first day of her job. Would you give me your asset inventory, a data flow map, the org chart? And they gave me the same answer every CISO gets on the first day of her job. Asset inventory. That's a great idea. I mean, are you talking about like bare metal or on-prem, workstations, cloud? You should start building. You should start building one. Data flow map? Yeah, well, we had one. But then, we had the merger and we let some people go. And I mean, it might not be totally documented. I'm sure you'll find something. But the org chart, you bet. Here's the link. It's mostly correct. Well, then I felt like every CISO feels on the morning of the second day of her job. What have I got myself into? Hey, team leader, they don't have the basic, starting data. Can I go collect it? Sure, the unsuspecting manager replies. Do what you'd normally do. Huge mistake. Probably should have said, do what a reasonable person with a significant amount of experience in a large enterprise would do. So what does a highly self-regarding hotshot do to make his mark in an environment that just might be over his head? I did what every Firefly binging Neil Stephenson quoting geek would do. I whipped out my personal computer. I mean, of course I brought it. It had my tools, which, I couldn't download to the corporate issued laptop through their corporate managed firewall. I jumped on their network and started a port scan, sweeping their Class A networks. Not a Christmas tree scan that lights up the sensors, but like a tight scan. Then my script fed those results into Nessus, a vulnerability assessment tool, into which I had loaded a large password database, so I could try the doorknobs and the window latches of any systems I discovered. I left it running overnight. There were a lot of systems to cover. Plugged it into the network jack, put it on my chair, placed my chair under the table so nobody would walk by and turn it off. I mean, this place didn't even have Wi-Fi. Everyone here used Blackberries. It was so locked down. The next day, gold, Napster servers, pirated movie hosting servers, a couple of Linux boxes running web servers with still the default account names and passwords on them, all on segments that were supposed to be workstation only. Man, these guys are going to love me. 3 days later, I'm writing my report, and security, uniformed, armed, come in and pull aside the team leader. And they talk for a couple minutes over in the corner. Then all eyes turn to me. Hey, Joel, did you try to break into every system in this business unit? No? I mean, not exactly. Well, this was not the first or the last time my anti-fragile ego got me in trouble. But some good came of this. The leadership there capitalized on my mistake and recognized that they were relying on first-generation characteristics. You know how a polar bear looks at an igloo? Crunchy on the outside and warm and gooey in the middle? That was this environment. Poor ability to see what was going on. Strong efforts to be secure. Super late warning system. Wrong response to the warning. Zero ability to get back on their feet. Can you see your territory? Can you secure what you see? Is your warning system any good? Do your responses match the alerts? Can you get back on your feet? Our brilliant dead, Alexander the Great versus Darius. Where? At the Battle of Gaugamela. Now, Darius's army vastly outnumbered Alexander's. Darius, he picked the terrain, a wide sweeping plain. And Darius built chariots with scythes in the wheels to mow down his enemy. Darius invested heavily in the strength and size of his army. Man to man, army to army, unbeatable. However, Darius failed to observe and see what was happening in the territory. Alexander positioned his army well. Darius didn't see it, and he couldn't see what was coming. When the battle began, Alexander acted unpredictably. Darius didn't get the warning in time. And when he did get the warning, he reacted wrong and mirrored Alexander instead of acting tactically. By the time Darius realized what was happening, Alexander was at the head of a wedge-shaped charge rushing straight at Darius. Not Darius's army, but Darius personally. Unable to get back on his feet, Darius turned and fled. Back to my history. The leadership at that company, they realized they had been built to fall like Darius. But they were insightful and agile, and instead of firing me, which, probably I deserved, they began changing their strategy and their investments. Oh, and not for nothing. See, secure, warn, response. Back on your feet. That's NIST. Thank you for joining me, the brilliant dead and the cutting edge, for a lucid view of, my history.